As you may have figured out from the title of this video, this is my place now, mine and Kat's place. This video I'm gonna talk about some of my reasons why I'm going from full-time van life to part-time van life, part-time home life. But first, let's just talk about a few of the things that I'm really excited about living in a home. Let's go. Central heating. Counter space. Flushing toilets. Hanging storage in a closet. Cold filtered water. 4-burner stove. Pantry storage. A mantle. Get it? Mantle? Man. I'm a man. Mantle. Privacy curtains. Harry Potter's old bedroom. Alohomora. It's the only stick I could find. Welcome to my new office/editing space. This right now is my warning to you that this video is gonna be a lot of talking and not a lot of fun, exciting B-roll type footage. So if you hate the sound of my voice, or if you're only here for fun B-roll, then probably just skip past this video or play it in 2x speed. Let's talk about some of the parts of van life that I actually absolutely loved. First off, the autonomy and freedom that comes along with this lifestyle has been absolutely instrumental in my life, has changed me in a lot of ways. The ability to decide when you want to leave and where you want to go, the ability to decide how little or how much you want to work. You can decide if you want to be alone or be with friends. Prior to living this life, I have never experienced that amount of freedom to do whatever the heck I wanted, and that's been such an amazing part of it for me. I've also absolutely loved the minimalism aspect of van life. I don't know that I would necessarily classify myself as a minimalist, but there are a lot of minimalist principles that have been a great addition to my life and that I want to carry forward even in this new season. For example, just kind of eradicating the excess in your life. You know, you don't have space in a van, like physical space in a van, to have things that are not bringing value into your life or do not in some way benefit you. So you can't have extra clothes, you can't have extra food or kitchen gadgets or any of that kind of stuff. And what that does is not only like simplifies and reduces the number of things you have, but it simplifies and reduces the amount of things you have to think about. And I think that's something that I've really loved about being in a van. And getting rid of all that stuff basically just creates more space for you to focus on the things that you love doing. I also think that living in a van has made me more aware and more in tune with my impacts. So for example, living in a van, you're constantly thinking about, am I getting enough solar energy to power up the things that I need to power up? Do I have enough water to last me until the next time I can get to a water fill place? So along with that, you're just very much in tune with how much you're consuming, how much water you're consuming, how much electricity you're consuming. And I love that because I, care about this planet and I want to do what I can to reduce my use, to sustainably use our finite resources. I think kind of along with that is when you do have that reduced amount of space, you can't just buy things because they sound good or they're convenient or whatever. Like, I mentioned kitchen gadgets. You can't just buy a blender because you want a smoothie. You have to think about it. And so what ends up happening is I buy fewer things and I end up creating less waste. And I think that's a huge benefit of living in a small space like that. I can't buy extra clothes. I can't buy, food that I'm not gonna eat. I have to be very conscientious about my buying decisions and therefore very conscientious about the amount that I'm wasting. And I think ultimately my impact on the earth has been less as a result of me moving into a van. And it's something I wanna carry through to this new season as well. Essentially, I got into this life to do more of the things I love, to put myself in closer proximity to my hobbies and my passions. And for me, that kind of hinged upon being outdoors. The things that I love are hiking and camping, backpacking, running, snowboarding, all of which kind of require me to be outdoors and a lot of times require me to be in remote places. So moving into a van was kind of a very logical step for me to be able to have easier access to those things. You know, the biggest barrier prior to moving into my Honda Element the first time was the amount of travel that I needed to get to some of these places. So the ability to bring my entire home with me to a trailhead or to, you know, wake up in a ski parking lot or something like that was a huge factor for me and a reason why the lifestyle suited me so well. It just served to make my hobbies and my passions way easier to pursue. But now let's talk about some of the things about van life that were very difficult for me. Kind of the first one that comes to mind is that everyday tasks, things that you have to do every day, sometimes multiple times a day, just end up taking way longer than they would in a normal home type situation. The obvious example is that like every time you want to go anywhere, you want to drive somewhere, you basically have to batten down the hatches. You got to pack everything up and secure it to make sure that it's not flying all over the place when you're driving. And that one little extra step to the process over the course of a day can take up a good chunk of the day. You know, something as simple as like getting ready in the morning. Normally you can roll out of bed, you know, throw on a shirt and pants, and you're pretty much ready to go. You can choose to shower or not shower. You can choose to eat breakfast or not eat breakfast. In a van, you know, or a bus, in my case, with another person and 2 other dogs, it's like I can't be up and getting ready at the same time that my dogs are being fed or cat's getting ready or that kind of thing. So I can't just get up and go so easily. And you know, when I'm in a situation where Kat and I are both bound to the same vehicle and our dogs are bound to the same vehicle, it's kind of got to work for everyone's schedule. And so there's, you know, all these normal things like getting ready in the morning or working, getting set up to work, they take just a little bit longer, and the end result is that it ends up taking probably, I would say, an average of like 2 extra hours out of every day, as opposed to like a normal house situation. Those small tasks take an extra 2 hours, and that's 2 hours that I don't get to spend doing the things that I love. Another thing that's been difficult for me is just the limited access to water and a shower. The reason that that's been so difficult is because I do love to do active things, and I love to, you know, break a sweat and exercise. And I found that when I don't know when my next shower is going to be, I'm less inclined to actually do exercise. And you know, for me, exercise is as much about like my physical body as it is about my mental state. So not only when I'm not exercising am I getting into worse shape, but I'm also getting into worse mental shape. The chemical releases that come along with exercise really have my whole life helped me to, you know, manage my emotions and that kind of stuff. And not being able to exercise has taken its toll. Say I want to go for a run when I'm living in a van and I want to be able to shower afterwards. I can either run at the gym or go to a trailhead, but there's always the packing up of the car. And then the gym shower process is not a 10-15 minute thing like it is at home. It basically takes an hour to shower at the gym, even if I just want to shower. It was always a huge barrier for me to doing exercise, and I hated that. I hated, you know, feeling like exercise was going to be a burden and not a joy. So as a result, I'm in the worst shape of my life. Another thing that's been very difficult for both Kat and I is feeling like we have enough time to work and to make money. This small space in the bus has not been very conducive for Kat and I to be efficient with our time, especially from a work sense, and especially while traveling. The constant shifting around, like changing campsites, changing places, going to the store to get groceries, that kind of stuff has made it feel like we're not able to get a full day's work in very often at all. And in addition to that, I have some difficulties focusing, and I've found that the constant barrage of stimulation and stuff going on around you when you're living in a van has made it extremely difficult for me to be efficient with my time. I can sit down and work, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to get distracted and get pulled away from work a lot. And so I made very little money the years that I've lived in a van, and that's fine. I don't need to make a lot of money, but I would like to be able to make enough money to save towards some of mine and Kat's longer term goals. So those are just a few of the reasons why van life has been difficult for me, and it is a difficult life. I think the fact of the matter is that it is a difficult lifestyle, and it's not that it's not a good lifestyle. It is, it's very good, but it does come with a lot of challenges. And sometimes we can look at, you know, social media, we can look at Instagram and like YouTube vloggers and see, you know, these images of luxurious, restful, relaxing environments. And while those do come, they are more the exception to the rule than the actual rule. So with those things kind of being laid out, the things that I loved about van life and the things that were difficult for me about van life, here's kind of why I'm choosing to go to part-time rather than full-time van life. Part of it, definitely not the whole picture, but part of it is the fact that Kat and I have had essentially the most difficult year of either of our lives. We've been hit by trauma after trauma. You know, every few weeks it feels like we get hit with some bombshell news of something else that's happening in our lives. And as a result, we're just absolutely exhausted. We're ready for some rest, ready for a period of recovery, and just ready for a little bit of stability and routine that can provide some comfort and relief from a very stressful year. Another particularly relevant one right now, but it's something we've been thinking about for quite a while, is just the fact that our dogs are aging and ill. And you know, I have particular stuff going on with Kopek right now, but it's been in my mind for a while that she's gonna probably need something a little more stable as she ages. And the same is true for Quirks. You know, we want to provide a home where they're gonna be able to be cozy and comfortable as they age. Being out in remote places, while a great opportunity for them, can be frightening when you have older dogs who are prone to needing like veterinary care and having a home base, a place where we know where our vet is and where the emergency vet is. In fact, it's less than a mile away from us right here. And there's a comfort in that. And Kat and I both take, you know, the care of our dogs as a huge responsibility. And we wanna make sure that, you know, our choices aren't negatively impacting them. And I think as they both kind of hit that elderly dog phase, it becomes more and more important to us to make sure that they are comfortable and happy as they age. Another reason that it's kind of more of a positive note is that Kat got a great job recently, and she's gonna have a normal kind of work week where she's gonna need a desk. She's gonna be working from home. She's technically working remote, but she needs a kind of stable environment, a stable internet connection to do that. And we're both excited about that because that's gonna allow us to kind of save towards some of our long-term goals in the future. You know, I mentioned earlier that I'm in the worst shape of my life, and I think a big part of it for me is getting myself into a shape that I'm happy with and a shape that I'm comfortable with. I'm excited at the prospect of being able to go for a run and come back home and shower and clean off and still feel like I'm not gross and I can kind of proceed with the rest of my day. Another downside to being in a van is that you just can't cook anything you want. You don't have all the options for cooking that you would in a normal home. And for me, that has made me kind of lean towards convenience food that isn't always the healthiest. And so I'm excited to have a full kitchen and, you know, a full-size fridge where I can keep more fresh veggies, keep healthier stuff, and have more ways to cook it and have a broader, more varied diet that's gonna be healthier for me in the long run. I also think a huge part of it for me is that I'm wanting more space and free thought to explore some of my creative and vocational pursuits. You know, I want to get better at making videos, both because it's a creative outlet for me and because it's my way of making money, and I want to be able to continue to expand, you know, what I'm able to do with video and how I'm able to use it and the amount of money I can make from it. So with that, this office space that we're in right now is going to serve as kind of a studio where I can do, you know, a variety of video projects, as well as a place where I can, you know, kind of turn off the lights and make it into my editing cave. And I'm really hoping that through that I'm able to expand my skill set and expand my creative pursuits. And another one, and this is a pretty big one for me and for Kat, is that we want to have space to be able to host our friends and family. We both love, you know, creating an environment that people feel welcome in and people can feel at home in. And we want to be able to, you know, if our family wants to visit us in Bend, they don't have to add the cost of a hotel to their travel expenses, or don't have to figure out a way to camp out in the woods with us. They can come and stay in our home and be comfortable and happy, and we can show them a good time here. So here's what life is gonna look like for me for the foreseeable future. The plan is to finish a camper build out in my element and use that to travel to all these places that I need to go. I still work very closely in the, you know, tiny living and van life community, and so it's still gonna be a huge part of my life, and I'm still gonna be regularly getting out to travel and to work. And in all likelihood, I'm actually probably gonna travel more this year than I did before. And that's something that I'm really excited about. While I'm doing that, Kat is gonna be able to have a comfortable work environment here. She's not gonna have to come with me and you know, move as I need to move. She's gonna be able to have a stable work environment where she can earn money and she can help us save towards our long-term goals. So I do plan to use the Element for a while, but I do kind of hope that in the longer term, I'll be able to save for a rig that's gonna be a little more comfortable for me as I'm gonna be out for weeks at a time, and also a space that's gonna be able to fit Kat and the dogs if we wanna take shorter week-long trips to the coast or anything like that. I think that sometimes there is a sort of shame about going from van life to non-van life, or full-time van life to part-time van life, or whatever. I'm certainly guilty of putting that shame on myself and probably even perpetrating that towards other people as well. But honestly, I feel very good about this decision. It's not that it doesn't come with fears and misgivings, but I do feel that it is the right move for Kat and I right now. And I'm excited about the opportunities that the part-time van life, part-time home life is gonna present us. I am convinced that this decision is going to make me and Kat into happier, healthier, better people, and it's gonna provide a better space for our dogs. That's gonna about wrap up this video. If you liked this video, then like this video. You can consider subscribing, yada yada, all that. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.